I love talking about increasing your net worth. This is our barometer for wealth building success. Today, we're going to speak with a couple of young parents who achieved $1 million net worth in their 30s. Mandy and Sean Senke are our guests today. Mandy and Sean have 3 kids, and they love hunting, fishing, and exploring in their great state of North Dakota. Welcome to the show, Mandy and Sean.
Hey, Andy. Great to meet you.
Great to meet you too. Thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate you sharing and opening up and helping other people grow as well. So let's talk about your story. At what point did you guys decide that growing your net worth and growing your wealth was a smart thing to do?
I got into it accidentally, like when I first started working, but it's really taken off more in the last few years. So I think we got lucky early on and maybe got a little good advice, but now, yeah, it's really taken off the last few years. And, you get intentional with what you want and you're looking ahead to the future. So that's where we're at right now.
Let's go. Let's talk about some of that early good advice you got. What was some of that good advice? Was that from parents? Was that from people at your workplace? How did that come across you?
Mostly people at work I started my job when I was right before I turned 23. And so it's been about 16 years. And, when you go in and that first week of work and you're like signing up for 401k, you like don't know what to put in for and like how much to put in where. But I remember guys were like, just put in 10 or 15%. And if you work out here for so many years, they're like, you'll be fine. So I just did that. And then basically I didn't think about it for a long time, but it's definitely worked out well for us.
I love it. There's so many times where there's this mystique around millionaires where it's like, wow, how did they do that? Did they buy some Bitcoin and then everything happened? It's like a lot of the time it's just investing in your 401k for a really long time, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
And like I've seen some of your Instagram posts this week, and it's kind of funny to even be on the podcast because it's true where it's like, it's just the boring way to do it. You start young and you put so much in and just leave it in there and the compound interest, and it really takes off after a while.
Well, that's incredible. So Mandy, as these plans were evolving, why was this important to you as well to, take care of your family and think about things like building your wealth?
So I have always cared about not necessarily long-term wealth as much as I cared about never being in debt. So that was always a priority to me. And Sean and I both got our jobs when we were pretty young. So I had my first adult full-time job when I was 21, and I did the same thing. We stuck to our guns and started at least with a company match, and I had a good company match. So I always did the minimum on that, and then over time it just really evolved as we saw how that grew to getting into a Roth and putting it other places, finding out how we can save for our kids and things like that. So a huge motivation for me was just being able to sort of set them up.
That's incredible. So you guys alluded to both having some good jobs with good benefits. What do you guys do for a living? How do you guys make income?
So I'm a distribution electrician, basically at a large chemical plant. So like electrical maintenance out there.
I work as an office administrator for a IBEW labor union, so electrical workers labor union. And like I said, yeah, it's crazy to think because I've been there for 12 years now, and it's weird to think that starting off at 21 would be like such a huge benefit by the time that you're 32.
Absolutely. Sticking with it and continually doing it. So it sounds like the energy sector is a big place to work in North Dakota. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Excellent. Well, can you break down your net worth for us? Because when people hear, million plus, like that gets confusing. What does that mean? What does your net worth consist of? What's in there?
Yeah, it is confusing because like I never did our financial net worth until this spring. You have an idea of everything and you're like, oh, it's probably like close to around $1 million. But then when you put it on paper, it's like really surprising. So what we have is we have our checking accounts, which really aren't that big. Then we have our savings account, like our emergency fund, which I would say I like more around like 20,000. And we had it there for a while, and then we actually paid off a couple smaller debts. So we're down a little bit this year. And then my work retirement accounts, I have about, as of last month, approximately 750,000 in my 401k. And then I actually broke that down and looked at it. And my employee pre-tax account is about 406,000. And then my employer matching pre-tax is 164,000. And then I also have a Roth 401k, which is another thing guys at work were like, hey, this Roth thing, you should get into that. Even if you just put a tiny amount in, it's all like already taxed. So maybe when you retire, you just want to like go make a big purchase, or you want to use it for something else. So I did that, and that is about 177,000. And then we also both have Roth IRAs, which we have about 8,000 in each. And that will be one of the next steps of growing them. And then your retirement account, your 401k is about 210,000, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I guess. And then the other thing, I actually have a pretty good pension at my job. So at this point, I don't know what exactly is in there, but as of July or January 1st of every year, in April, you'll get a statement of like your defined benefit that if you were to terminate employment, your payout amount. So every year in April, I know what I would have got if I would have ended, earlier in the year. And this year that was at 290,000.
That's incredible. Wow. You guys
Yeah.
have really taken the steps to start early, keep the consistency, and build it over time. So congratulations. What's the number today? I alluded to it at the beginning of the show. It's over $1 million. Where are you guys today?
So according to this sheet, we're at $1,600,070.
Wow. That's incredible. And how old are you guys today?
I am 39.
39.
I'm 32.
39, 32. That is incredible. Congratulations on all your success and keeping this simple and proving to people today that there's no magic to this. I mean, it is consistency and keeping at it and keeping those contributions going. So I didn't hear anything on there about maybe an inheritance or a windfall. Did anything like that happen in your wealth building journey?
No, definitely not. I know like my parents have been great. They like supported me my whole life. I got to do a lot of stuff growing up, but as far as like, moving on past high school and into college, that's something I paid for all myself. I'd come home on the weekends and they'd give me gas money, but that's about as far as that went.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
You talked about these coworkers. I feel like this is sort of the magical sauce to your story a little bit. It could have gone both ways. You could have had coworkers that said, "Hey, buddy, let's go to the casino, man. Let's go tear it up." And you don't need to save for that retirement. How did you decide what to pick when they said, "Yeah, make sure you're putting money in your 401k"? You still have to make a choice on what you're investing in, don't you? How did you make that decision?
Yeah, I think I don't remember. I think it was a lot of guessing. But I had a lot put into basically like an index fund. And then I asked what other guys were into. So I know there was like some healthcare, some energy. And then I actually had a bunch of bonds right away, which I think kind of paid off like that 07 to 09. Looking into this, I've went back and looked at some of the stuff that's happened over the years. And you can see me putting money in and it's just red. Like you're like losing money, but you're also just buying your stocks so cheap. And then my retirement account at work is through Vanguard. So they would actually bring people from Vanguard out at times. So I remember it was like within that first 5 years of work, I signed up to go meet with them one day and they kind of went through it with me. And I like reallocated some stuff and got that changed around. So it's been pretty good for a while now. But yeah, right away, I don't know. It wasn't horrible, but I could have done better right away.
I did, I filled out like the online forms on putting in the amounts that I was hoping to get when I retired. And then at that time, I had called and asked for kind of advice, and they said, sorry, we can't actually give advice. You can only fill out, this questionnaire and see where it ends up. So I did do that. And then I decided to like reallocate every quarter based on my answers.
Mandy, you mentioned that not having any debt was sort of like this important goal of yours. Why is that? Why was that the case?
I've just always felt really anxious having not enough, if there's ever not enough or like wanting to give more. So I just kind of had that always at the forefront of my thought process and how we wanted to live, what we thought that was important. And even common things like car payments, people would be like, "You'll always have a car payment," and I just hated the idea of it. Like, do we always have to have a car payment though? Is that totally necessary? And like the more that I've gotten out from under any type of debt, like I think our first small one was like student loans, and we like paid those off, and we were like, that's so nice. And then it was like paying off a vehicle, and you're like, oh, that's really nice. And then like just recently we bought an extra car just for like traveling, just commuting. And we paid for that one in cash. And I'm like, gosh, that was so nice. So I feel like every little token of the way that we've done things, I've like appreciated more and more and more. And I'm like, it just feels so nice not to be a slave to money.
I love that feeling. Yeah. And I completely agree with you. There's something that just feels like there was a weight on your shoulders and now it's gone. Like you don't have to think about it anymore. Or now that you've done it this way, you never want to go back. You've done it this way, and this is your lifestyle now. So do you guys have any debts today? Are you still working on paying off anything like that?
Yeah, we do. We have two things.
Yeah, we got one real bad one that every financial person is like, don't get into that. But we only have two debts. We have our house payment, our mortgage, which that's kind of the new thing we've been working on, and we only owe $27,000 on the house.
Mm-hmm. So we're hoping to have that paid off for sure. Sean's goal was by his 40th birthday, so that was June, and he just keeps moving it up. He's like, "How about the end of the year? How about?" But it's kind of crazy because I think like when he said it, it was like just a little over a year to do it. And what did we owe at that time? Like 70?
Yeah. Well, I have. I think I actually got it off Chris Hogan, but his 15-year mortgage of the house. And then I colored in, I just actually did $1,000 for each square up to around 60 some thousand and colored the rest in black. And then we have the kids, every time we make a payment on the house or a principal payment, then we have the kids fill the squares in. And we have it hanging on the fridge. So try to get them involved a little bit, and it's fun. Start teaching them a little bit. They don't really understand. You're like, well, we don't actually own the house. Yeah. I mean, you kind of do, but you kind of don't.
Yeah.
So then you're like, yeah, like the bank actually owns the house and we have to pay for it. And then, they start talking about it now too.
Yeah. So we own the house and then we own a pickup.
Yeah. Yep. I bought a brand new, very nice truck last year, which everyone is like, do not do that. But I do usually get a vehicle I really like. And then, my last pickup I had for 9 years, and that one I didn't want to get rid of. And I started having some issues with it. And I went like a couple years and we put a lot of money into it. I took it like 2 dealerships and a private garage and just couldn't get it fixed. And then I had some big trips coming up last fall. And then so I basically just went in and, got what I wanted. Although it's a little tough because the house would be paid off.
And we wouldn't have a pickup payment.
Yeah,
Well, the way you guys have set up your finances, the way you have built your wealth, there's money's for spending. Honestly, after you've done all the things you're supposed to check off the box, you guys are set for retirement. You're nearly mortgage free. It's okay to enjoy your money. And obviously the truck that you bought obviously fits in well with your lifestyle, not only personally, but for your family. You guys love spending time outdoors. You love doing things. So this is an addition to your family, right?
Yeah, it's definitely, we get a lot of use out of it and for what it was designed for. So yeah I love it.
Well, that's good. Well, I'm sure Mandy's going to like it even better when it's paid off, right?
I will. Know it.
Thank you guys both very much. This example of not only how to build wealth, but also how to plan your time and your family for a beautiful life has been very inspiring for me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Yeah, and we appreciate you and all of the time that you've invested into teaching us.
Yeah,
you
thanks,
didn't even
Andy.
know.
No, I enjoy what you put out, and we watch you and your wife, and yeah, I think I like the way you think.
Yeah,
thank you, man.
totally.
Thank you. I appreciate being able to do this. It's a blessing for me to be able to make a living doing this. Honestly, it's fantastic. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it.